Hey Yogi, so we are working on getting that press handstand or maybe just your handstand in general, and you want to get right to it, but hold up, wait a minute. We've really got to strengthen the wrists and the forearms. Please take it from me. This exercise may seem kind of like it doesn't really matter and I can skip through it, but you can't. Last year I injured my left wrist. It was a good 5 months before it was healed, and it took a lot of rehab strengthening. And then this year I did it to my right wrist, and again, about 5 or 6 months of rehabbing that wrist. Finally, I'm coming out of it, and I've learned my lesson. I will be doing my wrist exercises from here on out until I am done with my handstanding days. So please commit to strengthening your wrists and your forearms. I would say do these exercises at least 4 times a week. Aim for every day, and you'll probably only hit about half those days, and you will be so much safer and stronger in your inversion practice. All right, so let's get to it. I use 5-pound weights, but I have built up to that. Please feel free to start with 2 pounds or 3 pounds. If you don't have any weights, you could also use cans of soup or shampoo bottles. You could even do these exercises without weights until you get your hands on a pair of them. All right, so take a seat. That way we are not putting any of the weight into the shoulders. We can rest the arms and ask just the wrist and the forearms to do the work here. So I'm starting with my palms down, gripping my weight, resting my forearm just below my elbow on my knee. Arms are straight, and I'm just gonna lift the weight straight up. Hinging at the wrist. Try not to flare the wrist out because sometimes they wanna do that. Think of lifting straight lines. I have built up to 25 or 30 reps, but feel free to start with about 10 and see how that feels. Now let's flip it, palms up. Grip your weight nicely here, and then let it roll down to the fingertips and roll it in as much as you're able to, even kind of curling up through the wrist just slightly. Doing the same number that you did for the opposite direction. All right, the next exercise that we're going to do, go ahead and drop one weight because we're gonna do just one arm at a time here. I like to rest my elbow or just below my elbow on my knee. Start with the palm up as you grip your weight nice and tight so that you're still strengthening your forearm, and then just rotating through that wrist, flipping it up and down. Nice and slow, don't rush this. Feel what you're feeling, notice things. Aiming for the same number as you did for those others, so maybe 10, maybe 20. And of course, always working both sides equally. You may notice that your right hand feels a bit stronger, or the hand that you wash dishes with or wash the counters with, whatever, that hand may be a little stronger, and you may need a little bit more on the other side. All right, the next exercises that we're going to do requires a little bit of standing, or kneeling, as long as you can let the weights hang. And then you're just gonna twist in and out. You can do both at the same time or just one at a time if you really want to focus on form and control. And then after this, we're going to make circles. So I'm going to think about using the front head of my weight and just make these big internal circles. After that, reversing it, doing the opposite direction. All right, so that's gonna be it for the weights. Go ahead and set them down, and then we're gonna do just a couple more things to really get the wrists ready to go. Okay, the next exercise that we're going to do, I don't know what the name of this exercise is, but it really is very challenging and very tough. So work your edge and not past it. I found this exercise on a calisthenic page on YouTube, and man, does it really fire up the forearms. So you're going to wanna start with something lifted, maybe the edge of your fireplace, like a hearth or a step stool, something though that's very stable and isn't going to fall away from you. I'm going to walk my knees back, and I'm going to bring my hands onto my lifted support thing, whatever you're using, and I want just the knuckles right on the corner. And then try not to tuck your butt up. So if you tuck your butt up, it's actually really easy, but if you think about really pulling your butt in, finding a nice strong plank position, and then just lifting the heel of your hand, gently lowering it down. Lift the heel and lower. Woo! This takes a lot of focus, a lot of control. So really be mindful as you do this exercise, but it seriously does work very, very well. What you have to be aware of though is that tuck in the butt Once you tuck the butt, whew, could do it all day, no big deal. All right, so that is it for our exercises. The only other thing that I would have you do to help strengthen the wrists, strengthen the forearms, is the opposite of handstanding. So can you think about what the opposite of a handstand would be? It's hanging. So hanging from a bar. If you have a chin-up bar hanging somewhere in your house, you could hang from that. Or if you're near a park and you could go hang there. Hanging is really, really great traction for the wrists. Lots of strength through the forearms and through the hands. I have built up to doing 3 1-minute sets, but in the beginning, if you could just hang for 30 seconds, wow, what a difference that makes. So that's something to think about, kind of put in the back of your mind. If you're able to hang, please hang. All right, and then let's also remember to stretch out the wrists. So let's start on our hands and knees, palms down, fingers forward, and let's just start to rock forward and backward, bringing the shoulders over the wrists, and making some circular directions, counterclockwise and clockwise. Very nice. And then of course switching that so that the fingers face towards the knees, and nice and easy. Try not to move too quickly, just sitting back towards the heels, stretching out the backs of the forearms. Well, I guess the inside of the forearms, excuse me. Very nice. And then pointing the fingers out to each side, so to the right and to the left, and just rocking left and right, and circular motions, bringing lots of circulation to the wrists, getting them ready to support your weight. That's huge for your handstands. All right. Now, one other thing that I would have you do, but maybe save this one till the end of your practice, is massage out your hands and your forearms. So as you put all your weight into your hands, you're going to get a lot of strength, but that could also mean a lot of tension and a lot of stress. So a nice thing to do at the end of your practice is massage that out. I like to put my forearm down on the ground, and then I use my knee to just rub these little circular motions up and down my arm. I like using my knee because it doesn't take much weight from the leg to really make a difference. Okay, and the other side, palm up, using my left knee for my left arm. And make sure that you do this very regularly. You may not even notice that there's knots or tensions in the muscles along the arm, and then you start to massage them out, and wow, whoo, they were a lot tighter than you thought that they were. Alrighty, and the other thing that you may want to do is shake them. So shake those wrists, shake your hands, really helping to relieve any tension, any stress. When I am getting a little tired and my body is saying, okay, it's time to back off, I always start to shake, and it really helps to just soothe those muscles, to soften and release those ligaments and tendons. So take that as part of your handstanding practice. Shaking makes such a big difference. There you go, guys. I hope that helped. Please, please, please make sure that you are showing up for your wrists and your forearms, stretching them out and strengthening them almost every single day until you feel like you are really strong and stable on those hands. It's so, so important.